Hello, we are here today with Samantha Bikeman, who is co-founder of this Find Your Path event, who kind of brainchild and spearheaded this whole thing in Indiana, and now is taking it on the road and bringing it to us in Virginia. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited that this is coming to Virginia. Can you just give us a little, like, quick snippet of background of how this came to be?
Once upon a time, Allison and I were really frustrated with the fact that we wanted to learn all of these new spiritual concepts, right? And especially when we had just awoken, we were like, we wanted to dive into everything, but everything is so expensive and takes so long to learn. And just in general, there's really not a place for people who are just waking up or who are wanting to continue in the spirituality path to really go and land. And so we were tossing around the idea of expos and things like that, but we just felt like it needed to be more like a retreat, community building type of weekend thing. Like when you're in high school and you go away to camp and you're like, I've met all these new beautiful friends, and you like get to know your friends in a whole different way, right? Something that feels kind of like that, like a summer camp, but for adults and much shorter, and you don't have to spend the night in weird cabins together. Um, and so we birthed this idea of find your path, and then immediately subsequent ideas of like continuing your path, which is like for those who are already on their spirituality path but just want to learn a little bit deeper. And I'm sure there will be some like advanced find your path at some point in our lives, but we haven't quite gotten to that. But find your path is really for those who are just waking up to their spiritual journey, who have a lot of things they want to learn, or maybe they've just been doing one modality their whole life. Maybe they've just been doing Reiki and they're like, hey, I want to get into herbalism, or hey, I want to look at, I don't know, animal medicine or runes or tarot or whatever it might be. So there's concepts on there that are kind of like being an empath and what to do with that. The Tabby's doing all the way up to concepts like psychic surgery, which is what Jen is doing, which is a little bit more advanced. So we wanted a range of things, and we wanted it to be really, really affordable for people, because some of these things are like $1,000 to like $5,000 to take some of these different classes, and you might not even know that if you like it or not. So it's just a good way to get your feet wet in different modalities, learning about different topics without really making that full financial and time commitment.
And being part of the workshop in Indiana, it was, I mean, the workshops are great, the healings were great, the impromptu things that just kind of pop up and happen amidst everything were amazing. But that sense of community really is what stuck with me, and how it brought people closer together. And so while all those other things are wonderful, being able to find those like-minded people is also a real gift in and of itself that you can't even quantify. So,
Yeah.
so last time you were just like organizer extraordinaire, but this time you're going to dip into the teaching pool. So share with us
Mm-hmm.
a little bit about what you're going to be doing.
So I handle a lot of the more 3D concepts that people see in life. So one of my classes is going to be organization and prioritization. I know that's something that a lot of healers and spiritualist people struggle with, is living in the 5D and coping with the structure that's currently set in place by our society. So this class is a little bit about tips and tricks for that. I'm also diving into what's your moon sign. Most people know their sun sign. They've heard a little bit about it, but we want to really dive into your moon sign and how that has to do with like your security and what you need out of life, and diving really into the emotional side of you as a person and how that plays in with your sun sign and rising sign. And then the last thing I'm doing is I'm co-teaching a class with Tabby on raising intuitive children. Tabby is a parent of intuitive children and grandchildren, and I was a teacher and watched kind of the next wave sort of come out. And I saw, more kids presenting with things like autism or ADHD or dyslexia. And I started to kind of understand, maybe what planets or places those kids could have been on before, or some past life commonalities. And so we're just teaming up together from a teacher side and a parent side, and to help give you all the resources you might need, because there's really nothing in the parenting books about when you have an intuitive or psychic or whatever you want to call it type of kid, and they're seeing spirits or they're experiencing, these interdimensional beings or galactic beings or whatever, So
Yeah, and you don't know what you don't know. And so it's, until you understand kind of the mindset and where these kids are coming from, it's really hard
Mhm.
to help guide them and allow them to be open and still maneuver in the 3D world. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
can tell you there was nothing in my when I got my degree in special education, there was nothing in any of my textbooks about that either. So
surprise, surprise.
yeah.
Well, looking forward to having the girls from Indiana plus a couple of others coming into town again. It's always a magical experience, and November 12th and 13th at Glow Healing Arts won't let us down, I'm sure. So we will see everybody in just a few short weeks, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah.